If you think procrastination is a sign of laziness or poor discipline, you've been told the wrong thing. Psychology says that couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, procrastination is an emotional defense mechanism. We're not avoiding the work, we're avoiding the bad feelings the work gives us. Want to know the three simple mental shifts to break the cycle? Keep watching. We've all been there. You have a big task looming, a report, studying for an exam, finally cleaning out that closet. You know you should start, but suddenly, watching that hour-long documentary about deep-sea fishing is the most important thing in the world. Welcome back to Psychology Concepts Explained Simply. Today, we're tackling one of the most universal human struggles, procrastination. What is procrastination really? It's often mistaken for simple laziness or poor time management, but psychologists define it much more specifically. Procrastination is the voluntary delay of an intended and necessary task, despite knowing that this delay will likely lead to a negative consequence. Notice two key words there: voluntary delay and negative consequence. If your car breaks down on the way to a meeting, that's just a delay. But if you put off writing that report until midnight the night before it's due, causing you massive stress and a poor final product, that is procrastination. The core of it is the gap between what you know you should be doing and what you actually end up doing. For a long time, the advice was just manage your time better, be more disciplined. But modern psychological research, particularly from people like Dr. Fuchsia Sirois and Dr. Tim Cycle, shows that the real cause is not a failure of time management. Procrastination is actually a problem with emotion regulation. Think about it. Why do you avoid that task? It's usually because the task or the thought of it makes you feel something bad. It might be anxiety about failure, boredom from a tedious chore, insecurity about your abilities, or the frustration of a difficult problem. Your brain, in its effort to protect you from these negative feelings, throws a life raft, a distraction, which gives you immediate mood repair. Scrolling social media feels better right now than facing that stressful task. This links to a concept called present bias. Our brains are wired to prioritize our present self, the one who wants to feel good right now, over our future self, who will have to deal with the inevitable consequences later. Your present self says, future me will be less stressed and better equipped to handle this. But future you is just present you, only with less time and more anxiety. So, if it's about avoiding negative feelings, what are the most common tasks we avoid? They usually fall into three main categories. 1. Tasks with a high fear of failure or success. This is often tied to perfectionism. If you're a perfectionist, the standard for your work is impossibly high. The idea of not meeting that standard, of failing, is so painful that you avoid starting altogether. If you never start, you never fail, right? It's a self-protective, but ultimately self-sabotaging belief. 2. Tasks that are tedious or boring. These tasks simply don't offer enough internal reward. They don't engage the dopamine system, the part of the brain that governs motivation and reward. Our brain asks, why do this boring thing when I could do something that gives me an instant hit of pleasure? We put it off until the impending deadline creates enough external stress to finally kick the dopamine system into gear. That last-minute rush isn't productivity, it's a frantic stress-fueled reaction. 3. Tasks that lack clear, immediate structure. If a task is too big or vague, like start my business plan or write the whole term paper, it feels overwhelming. This lack of clarity triggers the feeling of being overwhelmed, which is, you guessed it, a negative emotion. This overwhelming feeling makes us shut down and retreat to something simpler and more certain, like cleaning the kitchen. Understanding these underlying emotions is the first and most critical step. Procrastination is a symptom, not the disease. The disease is the discomfort we feel. The great news is, since procrastination is about managing emotions, we can use simple psychological tools to change our relationship with uncomfortable tasks. Strategy 1. Practice self-compassion, not self-criticism. Research has shown that chronic procrastinators are often harder on themselves. When you procrastinate, your inner critic might say, "You're lazy. You're a failure." This only increases shame, stress, and anxiety, the very emotions that fuel procrastination. Instead, try self compassion. Acknowledge, I put this off and I feel stressed, but that doesn't make me a bad person. I am human, and this is a common struggle. Forgiving your past mistakes actually reduces the emotional burden and makes you more likely to start next time. Be your own encouraging coach, not a critical boss. Strategy 2: the 2-minute rule and temptation bundling. Remember how big, vague tasks feel overwhelming? We need to trick our brain into starting because getting started is the most important step. Use the 2-minute rule. If a task takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. But for bigger tasks, this rule means break it down until the first step takes less than 2 minutes. Don't commit to write the report. Commit to open the document and write the title. Once you have momentum, it's much easier to continue. Another trick is temptation bundling. This is for those boring tasks. Pair something you should do with something you want to do. For example, only listen to your favorite podcast while you do the laundry, or only watch your favorite show while you're on the treadmill. Strategy 3: the importance of implementation intentions. Willpower is unreliable. When you're faced with a choice, your present self is going to win. The solution is to remove the need for an on-the-spot decision. Psychologists call this forming an implementation intention, which is essentially an if-then plan. Instead of saying, I will work on my essay later, say, if it is 7 p.m. and I am finished with dinner, then I will go to the library and open the research paper folder. By deciding ahead of time when, where, and how you will act, you turn a vague wish into an automatic behavior. It's like creating a mental emergency brake for procrastination. Strategy 4: external accountability and environment design. We are heavily influenced by our environment and the people around us. Use this to your advantage. First, eliminate distractions, especially your phone. Putting your phone in another room or using a distraction blocking app is a commitment device that removes the easy path to mood repair. Design your workspace to be for work only. Second, create external accountability. Tell a friend, colleague, or family member your specific goal and deadline. Knowing that someone else will ask you about your progress is a powerful motivator. You're not just breaking a promise to yourself, you're breaking one to them. Finally, let's look at the deepest cognitive root for many chronic procrastinators: self-worth theory. Many people unconsciously believe that their value as a person, their self-worth, is tied directly to their performance. If they fail at a task, they believe it means they are a failure as a person. Procrastination, in this light, is a twisted defense mechanism. If you wait until the last minute and your work is poor, you can always use the excuse, well, I didn't have enough time. This protects the belief that you could have done it, and therefore, you are still smart and capable. It protects your self-worth. The shift is simple, but profound. Your performance is not your worth. You are valuable regardless of your GPA, your job title, or whether you submitted that report on time. When you fully internalize this, that you are worthy of love and respect no matter the outcome of a task, the fear of failure shrinks. The negative emotions associated with the task lose their power. Procrastination is not a moral failing or a sign of laziness. It is an emotional habit, a short-term solution for long-term emotional distress. To recap the path to beating it, acknowledge the true cause. It's about emotion regulation, not time management. Be kind. Practice self-compassion when you slip up. Break it down. Use the 2-minute rule to start and build momentum. Plan ahead. Create implementation intentions. If-then plans. Separate your self-worth from your performance. The key is not to eliminate negative emotions. That's impossible. The key is to act despite the discomfort, knowing that starting the task is the quickest way to end the anxiety. Which of these strategies do you think is the most practical to your everyday life? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this explanation helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe for more psychology concepts explained simply. Thank you for watching Cycly, Daily Psychology Facts, and remember, don't wait for motivation. Start now and let momentum be your motivation. I'll see you in the next video.